I'm David Groninger here in Seattle, Washington, and today is Monday, January the 4th, 2016. That's the first page of a piano piece by Rachmaninoff. It's a very energetic piece, and I play it because it gives me energy. It took me some energy to learn it, and it still takes some energy to practice it, to keep it up. But it's a managed kind of an energy where I don't make it a big effort or struggle or pain. I break it down into pieces and take little steps one at a time and go through them very, very slowly and just teach my fingers and arms what to do. Well, each day I ask myself this question: what could I say in 5 minutes that might help 5 million people? I write down the answers, I come up with ideas, and then I give a talk. And today's talk, it's called The Joy of Growth. The Joy of Growth. Just like there's a time that I did not know this piece. So you might say that I had not grown into having the skills or the ability to play this piece. So I could have taken it very effortlessly, or could have taken it as a struggle, like a sacrifice, like, oh, I have to practice for this, or I have to work hard for it. And although work is involved in no matter what you do, it's how you approach your work or your attitude toward work. So I took this piece very slowly, very simply, one hand alone. I wrote down on these musical pages here, you can't quite really see it from probably that camera right there, but I wrote down exactly what finger would go for every single note, so that I wouldn't have to try to figure it out every time I was on that note. I knew exactly what it was. And that's one way of training yourself on how to do something. Just like when you type on a keyboard, it's the same fingers that go to the same kinds of notes. Well, here, I knew what fingers went on every single note here, and I worked it out slowly. Well, so the joy of growth. So I grew into the ability to play pieces like this, and then once I grew into this ability, the abilities that I acquired then have helped me to play other pieces, not only that were difficult to play, but that took a lot of patience to learn. Well, so the joy of growth. I hear this word growing pains. Growing pains. I've heard the term a lot. No pain, no gain. Or in other words, you're not going to have any growth or any change unless pain is involved. I find it interesting, and drinking water helps me manage life so I have much less pain. Well, much less stress in my speaking anyway. I think that water, if more people knew how much water would actually reduce stress in so many parts of their life, they would be quite relieved just to learn about that. Well, so I hear a lot about this idea of growing pains, and no pain, no gain. So much of the thinking and in the language of getting ahead in life, of growing, of accomplishment, of success, so much in the language of that seems to be embedded words of struggle, of pain, of sacrifice, of failure and trying it over again, of running into resistance or opposition. I have having setbacks, getting discouraged, and whereas any of these things can happen in any kind of a growth, whether it's this piece or whether you want to lose 25 pounds, whether you want to get promoted to a different job, or find new people in your life to share love with, whatever you want to grow into, of course there can be resistance or opposition. You're coming out of a comfort zone into areas that are unfamiliar to you. But if you think about drinking lots of water, and so many good things are going to happen for you. Think about opportunity as something that's easy and not difficult. Break down the difficult steps into pieces that are so easy, and allow yourself to get started, to take action on the simple little steps that you've broken down into something that might appear very easy, or excuse me, might appear very difficult if you looked at it all at once. This is my clock. Means I've spoken for about 5 or 6 minutes, meaning that I'm not supposed to speak so long. I'm supposed to make my messages more succinct. And the idea is this. So many people I know, when they're looking toward making a change in life, something they want to grow with or grow into, some self-development, some personal change, a new ambition, a new desire, something they have to, climb toward, work toward. In so much of the way of thinking, I hear people say, well, it might be difficult, it might be hard. I see people looking at too large of steps to take all at once when they're not quite ready for them. I see people who want the thrill and ecstasy or sense of kind of like an emotional rush of somehow maybe getting lucky by taking a big step and making it. Like the very first try in the stock market to invest some money in some stock, and then a month later it goes up 30% and you made 30% in 1 month or whatever. There's a certain kind of attraction to getting an immediate result, and taking some large step in something. And although large steps are always possible, I say look at your growth and pace yourself in your growth. Have high ambitions, but don't allow yourself to get stuck into seeing any of the struggle or the pain or the effort in it. Even though logically there's going to be work involved, find a way to do the work in a way that is very, very easy. Just like when I learned to play a complicated piano piece, I do it just one little finger at a time and do it very, very slowly, and it's easy and it's not very painful. So when you hear the word growing pains, think instead of the joy of growth and design the growth that you want to have in your life. Design it, structure it. You manage and plan the growth that you want in every area of life in a way that's fun. I know many people who are not taking the next step in life because the last step they took was so difficult, and now they're on a level plateau, and they say, no more, this is it, this is for me, this is where I'm going to be now. And whereas that is fine too, because satisfaction and joy and pleasure in life can happen anywhere, whether you're on a plateau or maybe going uphill. But there's certainly nothing wrong with making a personal choice to stay where you are. But if growth is something that's very exciting to you and very intriguing to you, my idea is that growth does not have to equal pain. The no pain, no gain thing does not have to be. You can have gain and pleasure. You can have a lot of good times. You can have a lot of fun and growth. You don't have to have growing pains. You can have growing fun. Recruit some of your friends to help you out, and you help them out in the things you want to grow in, and that makes it more fun. Break down the big steps into small, easy steps, and make the easy steps fun. Have high ambitions, and don't let yourself see that you have to accomplish so much so fast. Then don't do it at all just because it seems like an insurmountable kind of a task. Take these large steps and break them down into steps that are so easy that anybody could do it. And you want to know something? The kind of successes that people sometimes admire and even envy in other people are successes that were made by breaking it down and taking steps that are so small that someone even much more capable than you yourself can make. So in other words, your big ambitions are not out of your reach. It's how you structure your pathway to get there. That's a big part of it. So the joy of growth. Have fun with growth. Find a way to grow in a way that supports the continued growth. Kind of like one of these, like renewable energy. Find a way that your progress alone supports your continued progress. And you can do this when you celebrate your little victories, when you learn from each step, so you take that learning over into the next step. The joy of growth. You can have the joy of growth. And playing the piano is probably not your goal. It's one of my hobbies. But by breaking down the complicated parts of this piece into simple parts, this is how easy it can be. I could do that 500 times, 500 times a day. It might be pretty boring. Well, that's been my talk. The joy of growth. You can have gain and a lot of fun and pleasure and learning. You don't have to have pain. You don't have to have struggle. You do not have to have stress and uncomfortable effort in the growth of anything you want to grow toward. It does require commitment and understanding. And that's my talk for the day. The joy of growth. This is David Groninger in Seattle, Washington, saying thank you for taking the time to listen to me.